Yeah, buddy.
There you go.
A
It is Friday
Telecaster
night.
with nines.
Nines
That's what I'm hearing in my ears right now, Charles. It was a Telecaster
with nines.
Sorry, but good evening.
You sure
And welcome
sound 9.5?
to Gitar Safari, the land of adventure and times of happiness, where people are free to be themselves and talk about the things that bring them happiness. And we all know that's only guitar, right, Charles?
Well, it's either that or they came to watch the train wreck.
Well, that happens too. Well, you always slow down to see the train wreck. You always got to watch what happens, when to see the blood. Yeah. Oh, you ever sit in traffic and you're like, it better be something up here.
There better be
something
a
at the
reason
end of
for
this.
this. Yeah, for sure.
And then you see it and it is something and you're like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, it's something you don't want to see it. Well, I mean, it is Friday night. It is time for Gitar Safari, and you guys get to pick our brains tonight. Seth has got guitar tech tips, and I can tell you whatever you want to know about fabric topping and finishes. And we probably don't know
hold on.
you think we do, but you can stump
we have other people here too that are also guitar aficionados in the chat. Yeah. We've got Ben Coombs, who's a setup dude, can handle it. We got a number of other people. I know that Monch is I know that Eddie. There's probably a dozen. Most people here also work on stuff. But if you ever want to chit chat, like we were chit chatting about nut heights, and how deep the slots should or shouldn't be on a custom, really nice guitar, stuff like that.
There you go.
We're just here for you.
All right, and so let's see who we got in the chat. We have our buddy Herb of Fireside Studios, and thank you,
Herb,
for sharing the show on the Book of Faces.
Hold on, it's better if you do it first, and then.
Come on, Eddie, get it together.
Well, he's still the shredder. He's still the GOAT. We all know that Eddie is the GOAT.
And we got Unfucking Believable. Welcome you everybody to Guitar Safari. Appreciate that.
What up, Unfucking Believable? Good to see you here.
We got Paul McNary coming in with the who, what, where.
Who, what? Come on now.
The one I got was this. I'm asking why. Why are we doing this? Why are people listening to us?
Well, people are. They should just be like, oh, Mer. There is no cray. Actually, the cray. Need I say? Maybe I'm the cray, but we do have the myrrh. Actually, the cray's in over here in the shop closet, because that guitar, I'm afraid to glue it back up and sell it again because it's just gonna break again. It's just a cursed place. Does anybody want it? Who wants a cray myrrh that's glued back together? Yeah, you gotta give me something to put it back together and send it to you. But
well, we got
basically free.
An alien in chat. Best avatar in all of YouTube.
Yes.
And he is followed by Tone Yeager, or the Tone Hunter. He says, sorry, I was looking for guitar. Sorry, I'm in the wrong chat. See you, guitar.
Yeah, wrong chat. You got to go over to Presley Customs. That's where the real show is. That's where it all started. Go back over there, God damn it. There's probably only one person on my channel. I'm just kidding, Charles. I'm joking.
Well, yeah.
I like to bellyache now and then.
Well, we got Michael Krause here, and he says, I too enjoy playing guitar, and he's got a couple other comments, and so he looks like he made his way in and out, and he might be back later. If not, he'll catch the replay. But he did leave us with best video to learn how to do your own setups.
Question mark? Look, I want to say Ben first. I don't want to go off and say, because last time I felt like I dogged Ben by not saying him, but I did work with Jeff Luttrell for 4 years. He's a master luthier, which is he definitely does more than Ben does. That's just the way it is.
Well, Ben does a really straightforward, common sense. Hey, if you once you got your intonation set, and all the other things set, and you're doing the
nothing else is changing.
It'd be good.
But Jeff Luttrell works with Music Nomad, and in my personal opinion, does the best setups videos, as far as if you practice his method and do that standard, and maybe interpret your own couple of things, but please do not stray too far from what he's doing as far as the sequence of the steps. you'll be good, and it's not hard.
Well, and if you're watching this fella here for guitar setups, you're on the wrong channel.
We don't either one of us don't do it. So my opinion is this. I try to do YouTube for the things that bring me joy and happiness, and doing setups because I did it for a job for a long time is not necessarily and do the thing that brings me joy and happiness. So to see me do a setup on camera is not like illuminating, like, oh yay, happiness. You know what I mean? So I feel like I mean, I know people watch it, but I would rather do the happier things. Like I loved the first time when I put down the first thing of True Oil.
Yeah.
Because that visual, so I'm more inclined to do that.
And I get you because, do I set up my own guitar? Sure I do. Right.
Yeah.
But, half the time I have to, I need to double check something, or I did something wrong the first time and I need to go back and figure it out. So, it's not my forte. I'm not going to put fabric on guitars. That's what I know.
Did I add you
staying in my lane? Staying in my lane.
Well, I should have added you too. I added a bunch of people to, instead of just the text luthier hotline, and anybody who wants to call me out in the chat or email me and I'll add you in. It's on Facebook, which I never go to Facebook, but for some reason I went to Facebook the other day and it reminded me that I had created this sub group that is the Luthier's Brain Trust.
Yes.
So, yeah. All right. So if you have a question or you take a picture of the nut that's messed up, or you take a picture of whatever, and you really are trying to get through something, for me, it's usually wiring, some kind of new wiring. You could put it in there in the hopes that the community might rebound with, oh, check, I tried this, I did that. So yeah.
Well, yeah. And it's always good to have someone to go to, right?
No. Yeah. It's good to have like 4 people to go to, because then you send out the deal and then maybe, because people aren't always available. Someone doesn't know how to do it. Someone's like wiring. Ask me when you have a question about fretwork. You know what I mean? Like, so I love that community effort. And I tried to do it before with texting, but then people can be a little bit, you're more protective with your phone number than you are your Facebook, probably.
Yeah.
Right. And so you get to know somebody, and then 5 times after they helped you, you might say, oh, hey, dude, you're in California too. Oh, you're in Texas too. Whatever it is. So hopefully that grows. Sure. People that want in, just email SethPresley@gmail. Pretty hard to do that one.
And welcome in Dan Gorman. He wants to know everybody what's cooking. Well, what's cooking is we're doing this show and you're watching, and we appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in. And literally, so that should be a representation of my acknowledgement of my inability to get through everything on my own. I have to reach out and and even go to books. One wise man once told me, Jeff Luttrell, don't always ask me everything, Seth. And I was like, oh, damn it. You know what I mean? Come on. And I get it now. He wanted me to, because when there's something that happens, when you ask somebody how to do something and they come over and they tell you real quick, you remember it about 1/10 of the amount that if you have a question in your head and you seek out the knowledge on your own and you gain it, or you read about how to do it and then you go back and do it, you gain like tenfold, right? And now I understand that, and I had to go through that to get that. And now I love researching topics that I'm weaker on, or topics I want to try from a different angle.
Oh yeah, if it's all being fed to you, if you're not learning it on your own, you're not going to have ownership of it.
Yep, totally.
You have to have that experience. You have to experience it and do it and find out. I want to say hello here to Richard Clark, saying odele to all his brothers and sisters.
What up, Richard Clark?
Yeah, we got JP Page 2 here saying hello.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
What is that the seal for? What state is that? Is that the state of on the avatar? Maybe I just can't see. I'm sorry.
Oh,
looks like something. Looks like a gold coin, maybe from a sunken ship. It's worth a lot. I watch a lot of Antiques Roadshow, Charles. I'm sorry. It's just
you do something anyway.
I watch a lot of Antiques Roadshow. I mean, I turn on Antiques Roadshow at this point, and I've seen it already most times. Oh, this vase again, The one with the birds on it? Oh, come on.
Well, I know we already mentioned his name, but Brother Ryan Hall is here. Hello there.
Yes, he is.
Want to mention it again? Say hello.
Yeah, Ryan Hall. I'm gonna get the
River Docks. We are joined by royalty. Hello there, my friend. How are you doing?
Hell yes.
And we got a brother here in the chat. Hello there, Edward Nugent Jr.
Where the hell's Todd Presley? He's boycotted for a while.
You hadn't seen him today yet.
He's an active guy. He goes up commonly because there's snow. He goes up to go snowboarding on the, so he's probably driving.
Steve, how you doing there, buddy?
What, Steve? Yeah, Steve. So we Steve
Reeser.
I know.
Don't make me do the short. Don't make me do it.
Don't make me do it.
Yeah, we got brother Ryan from 0812. Awesome show last night. I swear to God, if they would have done the second Pink Floyd song they were talking about doing, I would have to yell at them to get the hell out of my wallet. I'm just saying. Man, great show last night.
They were shredding, killing it.
Yep. Had a good time watching that last night for sure. We got Bo, Guitar Man 45. Welcome into my friend.
What is happening, Bo?
He's on that mission from God, getting that band back together, getting the venue up and running. We can't wait.
It's going to happen.
We got Martian Murray here in the chat. Now we got both our alien friends, right?
Well, it's nice to have them both. I love that the time surfing alien avatar reminds me. I had the poster when I lived in Hawaii in my surfer little bedroom that had the aliens coming down with the weed plants, and they said, "Take me to your dealer." People are gonna know in the chat. People will know that poster. I had it. Yeah. I don't have it anymore, but I was the guy that bought that poster and represented it in his bedroom at age, I think 20, 21.
Well, we got our bloody Bloomlocks here in the chat. Hello there. And Keith H, you are here, my friend. You are here.
You are
Appreciate you.
There. No, Keith is there.
No, he's here.
Well, oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. He's here. I get so confused because you can be both places.
But you can be both here and there. And we got Earl Coli saying howdy, everybody. And of course, the question always the same. What are you drinking tonight? Well,
I wish it was.
I had a shiner there a while ago, but it is all gone now. And he says he can't wait to see the Velvet Elvis fabric top guitar. I'm going to have to do one of these now.
A velvet, you think?
A Velvet Elvis guitar.
But can you fabricate and leave the velvety part velvety on the outside, or does it have to be?
It would just have absolutely no protection.
Yeah, it would get ripped, but whatever.
And let's see, who else do we have with us? We got Joe McGraw saying, "Hey Charles, misplaced my old man glasses. Be right back."
I wonder if that's an iPad.
Probably back by now. It's taking us so long to get here in the chat.
To get through the chat, right? Well, there's a lot of people here. That looks like an Ibanez or something cool.
We got Brother William De Silva. We got BC Rich 581. We got Dastardly Dave. Got to meet Dastardly Dave the other day in the Water Buffalo meeting we did.
Yeah, I've been seeing him in we've been rapping out in all the chats lately.
There you go. Well, I haven't been able to make some of them recently. I get kidnapped by the wife,
I had a stomach flu like late Monday night, and so I took Tuesday off, and felt better. Felt better in the mid morning, and so came down to the guitar shop to leave the wife alone, and watched a bunch of YouTube and was in some chats, hanging out with people.
There you go. We got Vox Guitar Rock saying hello.
What up, Vox?
Yeah, say, huh? Let's see.
Wait, is that a dog?
We got Sir William of Bologna.
Sir William of Bologna. Yes.
We got Eddie Fay saying hello, Guitar Geeks. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
we got John Dotson saying sign me up. And so you must be talking about your Facebook group there.
Well, email me, Seth Presley, SS, so it's at Seth, and then PRESSLEY at Gmail. Send me and I'll blip you right in. Or you should be able to look me up on Facebook if you are and friend request me. I'll just add you right in. Either way, whatever works. I like emails. It starts a relationship.
We got Graphite and Cigars here with us. Hello there. How you doing, my friend?
What up? Nice.
Let's see. We got Fireside Ambience here.
Oh, it's been a while. Good to see you here. Wait, but that's the same thing as Herb.
Yeah, that's Herb.
Double Herbin on us. I like it.
We got double Herbin. We got Terry 3Gs. And he says, as long as we're picking your brain and not your nose, that's all right.
No, Terry, you're here for the butt.
We got Bonkers with us as well.
Got a big pimple. And can you help me with it? Come on. Come on, dude. If you're a true friend, you're going to get in there.
Our buddy Patrick Trites as well.
PT, the way it should be.
Yeah,
hanging out with you.
Song and
up,
Ian's Guitar Shack.
Ian's Guitar Shack is here.
Yeah, thank you, River Ducks. Yeah, we're a little bit over 500 now, and so we're getting there slowly but surely.
He's going to start kicking people out. Y'all, you better behave.
And hell, Michael B. Live. Michael B. Live and I got a Gretsch project we're going to be doing together, and it's kind of on hold right now, but we need to figure out what we're going to do with it. We kind of got some ideas, and we need to get back together.
Are you going to rebind it, or are you just going to?
We're gonna have to
route out. You can pull off the binding. You can heat it up and pull it off.
Yeah,
and then just rebind it.
There's a lot of figuring to be done on this one.
That's fun though. That's the fun stuff. That's what we're talking about. Like pushing it a little bit, making you just, you know.
But that is made our way through the chat. So now we can start talking about the things we should be talking about, right?
About
now they get to pick our brains.
Or not. I mean, or we can just keep chit chatting. It could be the worst topic ever. But well, we just are here for any guitar thoughts. Or do you think that this would work with that? And we just be like, I don't know. Most of the time.
There we go. Let's see. I had really kind of gone all the way back and skipped over some stuff that people were adding in and talking about. So I'm going to search for that. You go ahead and you talk for a while I do that.
Searching for, well, you know what we should be searching for? We should be searching for Brian. I learned a good lesson. You don't make any damn props for people that are specific for them to come, because Ben's not even here. I think are both boycotting us.
Ella's got a life, he can't be here all the time.
Oh no, he doesn't. Come on, he's a YouTuber. I know. Searching. Is that upside down? Of course it's upside down.
Of course. Searching for tone.
Searching for tone. Everybody should check out that guy's channel, but not tonight because he's not hanging out with us. Messed up. Oh, he might be busy too. Might have a life.
I'm so sorry, but when we were talking about guitar setups before that, where to go, where to look for them, and BC Rich was adding in, Music Nomad and Stu Mac. They do good guitar setup videos as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just becomes about the sequence of events, right?
Mm-hmm.
Music Nomad, and I checked out a bunch of stuff from Stu Mac, but it was more on painting. They have two people that I don't know, they're luthiers, right? And they had a guitar shop, and they do a bunch of videos for them. I watched their whole series on Nitro Paint. It was pretty good.
Well, and Vox says he just gets his guitar set up when the temperature changes. He's like, I'm gonna let somebody else deal with that.
Yep, dude, I don't mind setting them up. So yeah, I get it. I set up a few guitars recently that were just completely out of whack, and they came back together fine.
Steve Reeser says, Seth, I'm looking for my old Kramer. It had a break like the one you have. Maybe I'll find it one day again.
Maybe this is it.
We'll glue it back on.
Yeah, right. Was it a burst? Yeah, I know. I had an old Kramer too, just like Ben's, a 6000.
For sure, Joe.
ST.
And then Blue Mox, I love that he brings this up. And we were talking about those guitar setups, and he goes back to the train method setup, right? And that was the one that Phil McKnight did with what is his name? Ron something over there that used to work at Fender.
Truss rod relief, something intonation nut. A is going to be
A's action.
Action. So truss rod relief, action, intonation
nut.
He just left out like all the middle stuff, like the tightening of all the screws and the cleaning of the electronics.
Well, the
And
assumption there is, those things should be done, right? if
well,
those things,
that's why it needs to be put into your method, because like when every time you have your strings off, you should clean your frets. If you got your string, I mean, unless you're taking them on and off, but you know what I mean? Every time you have fret, just clean your frets, because cleaner frets are more pleasant to play.
Well, Richard Clark says he's been setting up his guitars for decades, but sometime a guy walks in and just shows me the thing I've been missing forever.
Yes. And please share with other people, though, because we all learn those little techniques that are like, oh, a lot of people don't thoroughly seat their strings. When I play people's guitars, if I give it like a real Presley little tug with my finger and my thumb, the string flubs out. And it's not terrible. You can get by with it. But if you want the true real deal where your guitar is staying in tune perfectly and you can go and play and you can bend and you're not going out of tune, you need to seat your strings.
I love Vox. He says, my local tech is amazing. The only thing he doesn't do is Windows. Shout out to Darren at Music Central.
Nice. What city? Darren at Music Central. It's good to know, because good techs are good people. For the most part, the ones I've known were good people.
And then this goes back to the whole train one that we were talking about earlier. Tony, yes, when you do a full setup and realize the nut is messed up.
Yeah, but it is still I know, it is still one of the last. Well, here's the thing. One of the first things on your setup form should be inspect the guitar. So inspect all of those places first and assess what you're gonna do and what needs to be done. Because I get it. I have done that and gotten to the end, and you're like, oh, this too, and we didn't call the customer, and they didn't. I didn't see it in the initial that this was obvious that it was have to be addressed. Then you got to call them and tell them it's going to be another $100.
And that's why it's important to have a process, right? And not to tell the customer what it is until you've actually been able to check the whole thing out.
Yeah. I mean, there should be a lot of questions involved in a setup. If you drop off your guitar at any place that's going to do a setup, if they haven't worked with you even just a number of times, even if it was once before, and they just say, okay, great, got it, dude, thanks, and take your guitar, that's a problem. Like, you need to communicate a number of things. I'll have at least a 10-point, what tuning are you in? What strings do you use? Do you have strings, or are you buying them from me? And then even in that, dude, I got so kind of into it. I'm looking at your hands. I'm like assessing how big are you. You have sausage fingers. You got little tiny little needle fingers. Are you looking like you're hella strong, like you might manhandle this thing, or you're and I'm assessing your personality.
And are you one of those guys you got that iron grip on, right?
Absolutely. And are you the guy that's like, there's a piece of dust right here. Oh, don't scratch my guitar. Oh, okay. All right. I'm not saying we scratch guitars, which we don't, but if you're that guy, you just instantly made me not your guy, because it just says to me that if anything is ever you're just too the guitars just don't get played enough in that, and you know what I mean. Anyway, there's not that many of those dudes out there. There's a very small percentage.
Let's see.
But they exist, though. They do exist in the flesh.
So you were asking earlier about Vox Guitar Rocks' his avatar here, and he says, my avatar is my 135-pound German Shepherd. Took his pick when he climbed 15 feet up a tree after a squirrel. Love it.
Fletcher, my little 25-pound dog, will go, as far as we'll let him. That's amazing. But then you're like, oh shoot, what do we do? Call the fire department? Did he jump down into your arms? It's amazing, because he'll throw my back out and catch it.
How far was he willing to come back down out of the tree, or did you have to go up there?
It was at the fire department, because I could be like, oh, honey, I don't. Yeah,
no joke. Trying to get a German Shepherd out of a tree.
That's fantastic. True story, right? And it's one of those things that I just believe. It's not like, that's great.
Well, Joe McGraw says, Charles, do you cover fabrics with clear poly? The guitar in my pick was a must do. It's an 80s Aria Pro. The picture doesn't do it justice, but the clear coat was a must do. Yeah, Joe, when once I go ahead and I glue down the fabric, then I it gets a couple coats of sanding sealer, and then we smooth that, we sand that smooth, and so that way that the fabric just doesn't suck up all the clear once you put it on. And then I go through about 6 good coats of clear urethane, polyurethane.
Also, if you don't do that sanding sealer, that amount of soak up that you're saying becomes heavy.
Oh yeah, it becomes heavy. The guitar is going to be heavy. It's going to sound dark and dead, and
well, not dead. I mean,
and it's just it's a mess it's a mess to kind of get the finish right after that, because it's not
so thick. It's like working with a pool full of freaking. But it does sound good on a telly, in my opinion, getting that super thick, because a telly, usually a little brighter, and it kind of evens it. I've had a few really heavy, thick finished tellies, and they were good.
Mm-hmm. And so once we go ahead and so we I glue that fabric down. We give it, at least 3 coats of sanding sealer, if not more, and then smooth that out nice and flat and make sure it's perfect. And then this is the urethane clear that I use.
The 2K
the Spray Max. Yeah, the Spray Max Clear Glamour. It's a 2K system, so it's got a hardener in it. You can use.
But you have to pop it on the bottom.
You pop it on the bottom. There's a canister inside the canister. And so you can either use it as a 1K and spray it, or you can hit that canister and it's going to harden. But once you release the hardener in it, the can is no good after like 24 hours.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're doing a guitar that you have 15 minutes in between coats,
it is a very durable finish, and it's worked very well for me.
Can I ask you, how many coats are you getting per can on a normal guitar body?
On a normal guitar body, you're going to get 3 really good coats.
That's all you need.
Yeah. But I like to do 6 because I know
2 cans.
Because for 2 cans, I'm going to get 6 coats, and I'm like, I get obsessive about it. So a lot of what's coming on is coming off.
Right.
Because it's not perfect, right? Yeah.
Right. It gives you that extra buffer. The extra can is going to give you the dial it back to perfection. I like that.
Yeah.
But do you think if it wasn't going over fabric, because I thought of doing poly over one of my set neck wood kit builds.
Yeah, you could do 3 coats. Right. You 3 coats would do it, and it would protect it, and it would be just fine.
And you could polish it out super nice.
It is just the one thing with any clear is you need to take your time. You need to spray it right. Don't make it, don't spray it too thick. Don't spray it too thin.
Yeah.
Because if you get a run, that's a lot of hours of work.
Do you have the handle thing too? I heard that really helps.
I do have the handle thing, but I don't use it often. It depends on what I'm doing.
It depends on what I'm feel of with your finger. Yeah.
I feel like I have more control with the hand. I can, more control over the flow with the nozzle that way rather than the trigger. But the trigger, those trigger handles do work really well. It's just I don't like the angle it puts the can at for me.
I wonder what the level is where you step up and you just get a small compressor and a little paint gun and some, and then mix your own, clear and stuff. How
and you
can be doing it a lot.
You can do it, and I just don't do it because I'm lazy and I don't want all the cleanup.
Right, and I would think that you
gotta
if you're doing it all day every day, it's going to get to the point where you don't want to pay for cans anymore. But if you're doing it 6 times a year or 12 times a year, you can pay for some cans. But if you're doing it all the time and that's all you're doing, then it's going to be like, oh, we can't run to this, we can't buy crates of this product. We need to just be spraying it our own product. That's what I think is really smart. Texas Toast did their whole spray booth now, and they just knock it out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I honestly, that is the mixing, doing the clear in the gun is really the best way to do it. And the reason why I don't do it is I'm too lazy. I don't want to clean. I half the time, I won't clean the gun all the time, and then I'm gonna have to get a new gun.
Right. Oh, well, I would say that arguably you can achieve the same results with the can, because the can technology and the everything is developed to a point where, just like I said, if the results are going to be essentially the same, especially because you're sanding it back if it's clear, right?
To some degree, right? But honestly, it's the reason why they don't paint cars with aerosol cans. You can do it,
right? But it takes a lot.
You can get a much smoother stroke with a gun. You really can, and it's going to be a better finish, less things to work out in the end.
Right.
Guys that know what they're looking at can tell you a difference.
Okay, unbelievable.
The gun, but I just don't want the cleanup. I know I'm not going to get to it, and so I'm going to go through guns like you wouldn't believe.
I got to answer this question, Charles.
Yeah, that's why it's there.
All right, you start with the tuner, then we're going to go to our equalizer. And after the equalizer, personally, I might run a distortion pedal. Next. Oh, I'm sorry, Charles. It turns out we can't do that. That's not realistic, because we probably won't make it through. But I could literally just keep going for 300. That's what actually happens.
Okay, so yeah, you start with your tuner. Okay, what goes next? You going overdrive, or you going modulation?
Right. No, I should have said I would have did my equalizer, then a compressor sustainer. Then I'll get into pedals. But we could, if you ever have to sit next to me, unfucking believable, on like a plane ride or a train or even a long car ride, we might have this discussion whether or not you want to.
Whether or not you want to.
Dude, I'm an accountant. Well, check it out, dude. If you have the wah-wah pedal on spot 25 and not spot 11, 11 and I'm no good. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's a good question, and it's up your alley, right? Seth, okay. How would you shape a guitar neck that is too thick? Would you put it in a vise and use a rasp file to get closer to a more comfortable profile? How would you go about doing it?
There's a couple of good ways to do that. And I love that. I love doing that stuff now. All right. So it depends again how much you're doing it, because they make these radius scrapers that are in different neck profiles that are scrapers. So once you have it down to, you're saying it's too big and you want to bring it down, which is you should be able to do once you get that radius scraper that is the one you want. Even if you don't, I've used a rasp, but no necks that I have made have been amazingly beautiful. I'm only in the concept stage, and I've been thinking of I really kind of like that Steinberger design, that it's like not a traditional neck, but it feels comfortable. It's a weird shape because it has to be a little bit different. Everything, is always the same. But anyway, yes, I would, you can use all those. But what I've also seen is once you start to get close is just get the a strip of the 80 grit, thin, long sandpaper, and chugga, get it going across something, and you're shaping like this and going and feeling and just shaping it like that.
Are you running a profile gauge down the back of the neck while you do this to see where
your hand mainly is what I would run. I don't have a bunch of profile gauges. I have radius gauges, so I don't have neck profile gauges because I'm just not into it that much yet.
Okay.
But at some point maybe I will be. What I anticipate is, what I've seen is, I would decide pretty quick on what my neck profile is, and then make a jig that is just makes it easy.
Yeah,
like I've been looking
profile on it. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been looking recently at the router attachments to do fretboard radiusing using a little jig in the router. You
Yeah,
just go
I have
hit
seen. I have seen.
zing, 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 zing. Yeah, it looks and like fret pressing and all this stuff. That's like next level. You have to be investing in what it takes to do it, but it sure does make it nice to be able to do everything on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Behind
I've seen guys build the cradles to do that, right? And you just run it, and you run the router and it over the cradle, and it gives you that.
exactly. Yeah, the router like goes in, and then it's running on these two little things that are radiused,
Mm-hmm.
and you can change those blocks to be
Exactly
12 or
for your different radiuses. Yeah.
and you have to just bring it down ever so slightly. So I like that. I've started routing recently. I'd never routed before 2024. And at the end of 2024, I started actually really routing stuff. And now I enjoy it because it's fun to set it up and fun to see the end result. And it's not as hard as you'd think it is.
Hey, Mitch.
What up, Mitch? Oh, Mitch wins. Great. Avatar's at a poodle. Oh, I love poodles. Smart.
And so Blue Mox has our next question. He says, Seth, about truss and neck relief.
Yes.
So the setup allows for the strings to have good relief on the lower frets. What's your typical rules for that?
Yep. Are usually about 6,000ths relief on an electric guitar. And it depends a little bit on your string choice and your tuning choice, and it can depend on specific guitars and playing style. So if you're a heavy-handed player with a little bit bigger strings, you might get 7,000 relief, and because you're not playing a bunch of intricate stuff up the neck. If you're a super shredder and you're super, you've got a lot of technique in your hands and you're all over the place, you might want a very flat neck. You know what I mean? So that's where those questions come in up front, right? That's why just one setup does not fit all. Gotta look at the hands. I even used to be like, oh man, you're playing nines? Come on, man. You can lift a concrete block with your freaking pinky. I mean, you're telling me you can't play tens? Oh, I just like the freedom. You're telling me you can't play tens? Anyway, I know we like what we like, but I was like, you're playing nines? Come on, dude. Look at your hands. But people like the fact that they're smaller.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. And if you have a light touch, nines are, if you're a good player and light and have a good light touch, nines are great. I have to concentrate more when I play nines.
And Graphite and Guitar says the best guitar setup ever done for him was a small music shop that specialized in brass instruments. They provided all the brass for local bands, and the tech there was just simply amazing. So.
Wow, that's great. Probably learn from somebody smart, or it could have been like he just knew the right thing for that guitar and was like, "Oh, one of these, I got you."
Yeah,
that's
and
great.
we were talking about train earlier. The TN train is for tuning. You tune it first.
Tuning, thank you.
We said truss rod. We just caught up in the moment, I suppose.
Because that would be relief, right?
That would be your relief. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So truss rod would be. Yes. I guess you check if you have a truss rod because that is on my list. Because some guitars don't have them, so the relief that you have is the relief you get.
Yeah, and then your only option there is what your how high your nut and your bridge are, right? It's like your only choice is if you don't have a truss rod.
Yes, and if the neck starts to bow, you're just kind of out of luck. If it starts to back bow, you can usually, you can heat press it both ways, but I've been more successful heat pressing with stuff that has a back bow than stuff that has a forward bow.
Helpful tip from Terry: when building your guitar neck, always remember to insert your truss rod.
Yes. Actually, I was looking up these titanium rod inserts that were very reasonably priced, and I was thinking to myself, well, if I'm putting in, a nice truss rod and I like the piece of wood on the neck, It's almost like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't I put in the carbon fiber reinforcement inserts? It's only 5 more minutes of routing and, another $10. So that, to me, to have that stability in a neck, my best favorite guitars are very stable. They stay in tune. They're just wonderful, so that might be worth it. And then, definitely people would like it, I think.
Right. Well, Searching for Tone has made it in. Welcome in, Brian. Appreciate it.
Hold on. Damn it. Everybody already saw it.
Yeah,
Brian.
You got to do it again for him. No, it's just,
Right.
it's necessary.
All right. We are searching.
And they're upside down.
Searching for tone.
So you need an arrow on the back of that says this way up.
I know. Well, I can incorporate that. I have a Sharpie. Search for tone.
All right. Well, Time Surfing Alien says he's got to change the nut on his 338. Low E is cut too deep. Really, all the strings are, but the low E in particular.
Okay, on that 330, you could get away with. I mean, you can change the nut. That's not or you could pop it out, get a little piece of very thin craft paper that's about 10 mil thick. Cut that perfectly and use a little bit of cut it perfectly to the size of the bottom of the nut. Glue it with thin super glue to the bottom of the nut, reinsert the nut, and that'll bring up all those nut slots that are low, the width of that or the thickness.
Oh, so so basically shim the nut.
Shim the nut, buddy. Shim it. That's shim it.
Well, and your other option is what, the old baking soda and super glue?
If there are, I forget, my method used to be if there was 3 or more low slots, it got a shim, right? Because I'd rather do that than fill 3 slots. I think, and for me, it was more about time. Part of the thing over time, as I've become a home luthier and not a shop luthier, like working for somebody else, is I've had to slow down. I was always trained to be able to be very efficient and be very fast, and that's not bad, but like you have to train yourself to slow down to a more personal pace.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're dealing with a nut where maybe it's a plastic nut and the strings are just working themselves further and further down, and you shim it, it's just going to continue to happen. You're going to split your nut eventually, right?
Oh yeah, you're going to have to eventually replace it. You're just kicking the can down the road.
Kicking the can down the road a little bit.
Okay. But that is the cost of a thin, tiny piece of paper and a little bit of super glue. Versus, so that's what people do to kick it down the road. Or a new nut would be measure it, get calipers, get digital calipers, measure the nut, see how thick it is, how tall it is, and get a good visual eye on what you're going to be buying, and then go and search at a few places to find the direct replacement that you won't have to fit too much, and you won't have to sand down the sides of it really to get it in place. It'll just pretty much look pretty damn good just dropping in. Then you're going to have to cut the nut slots because that one's going to come with high nut slots.
Right.
It's going to be.
Bo was saying that his one of his 12-string Taylors uses extra light strings, 840, 822.
Oh yeah.
And he uses it specifically for the song Crystal Ball during a set.
Nice. I love that. I love that particular setup for the one song. It's the commitment to the tone. That's how crazy we are.
Yep.
We have a very expensive guitar with a very expensive setup on it. 12 strings are not easy to deal with. A lot of strings on there for the one sound that you want. Pretty good.
Well, Edwin, you can make your guitar look like glass if it's not currently looking. If it's a little rough, a good way to start. Get yourself some 2000 grit sandpaper and wet sand it. Okay, and and you can go high. I will go all the way up to 12 thou when I do the ones that I do. But honestly, anything after 6 is just like overkill.
Right.
But you could probably even do 2 and get 2,000 grit and get away with it. Go ahead and wet sand that down like that, and then get a good cutting compound, and compound and buff that body, and then use a good car polish on top of that, and it's going to go ahead and bring that shine back to that guitar.
It's going to gleam.
It's going to gleam. It is going to look deep. Just
but that's a lot of work. Blow that thing apart to do that.
It's a lot of work. And the big thing to sit there and to be aware of when you're both doing the wet sanding and the buffing with the compound is let the material do the work for you. Don't be heavy-handed. Don't force it down, putting all your weight on it. Let the grit of that paper do the work. If you're applying heavy pressure to it, then you're going to put swirl marks in it.
Yeah, I think people it takes time to start to be able to feel the removal of material with different grits. And once you start to feel it, it starts to become natural. And you can okay, here, now we're moving. Oh, I don't want to go too far, because you can feel, or when your sandpaper is getting too full of material, you can really feel that. And you have to just do that kind of stuff for a while, and then you'll feel it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Blue Mox has another question. He says, I've recently been putting a little more relief in the neck and pulling the bridge down a little so the action is lower on the high frets. On the higher frets. And he's asking, so he's thinking, what are your thoughts? What do you do?
Well, so there we go into playing style. What's your playing style like, right? Because if you're bluesy and up there bending a lot, and you're really concerned about that spot, then you've kind of done what you need to do, work yourself right into where you need to be. But you could also straighten out the neck if you have a notched straight edge, or if you just take the old method of measuring, at the 5th fret with the 1st fret fretted and it fretted at the neck joint or wherever it joins the body, or the 12th, whatever. And then checking at the 5th, you can dial it into no relief, and then play it and see how it plays with no relief. And then rock the frets with no relief and see. Because you should be able to play a guitar that has perfectly even frets with no relief or almost no relief. If the frets are perfect, you should be able to have no relief and just have what the nut heights are and where you set the bridge up above the strings be, enough to keep it from buzzing if the frets are perfect. Just saying. But then you add a little bit of relief. It also kind of does something, in my opinion, to the neck that makes it plays a little bit better with a little bit of relief.
There you go. Joe McGraw says everyone has their way of doing things, and that's as in cool setting guitars up and treating the fretboard. And in terms of what he does, he uses linseed oil after cleaning it off with lighter fluids.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, it depends on the finish. Just don't clean a nitro finish off with that lighter fluid, or don't get it on any of your plastics. That would be terrible. But yeah, totally.
The naphtha will go ahead and take off a lot of stuff. It is a really great way to clean stuff.
Yeah, it's right here on the bench. It's one.
And it just flashes, and it'll flash off in no time. So
yeah,
but yeah, you got to make sure you don't get it on your plastics, and you keep it away from other things.
Flammable.
But it's fine for your finish. It's fine for your fretboards. But I didn't know about. I don't deal with a lot of nitro, so I didn't know that it would not be safe on.
It's not safe with all nitro. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Nope. It's good on poly. Do you have any nitro finishes?
I don't. I have not had a nitro finish. So I haven't had that experience. So
something. Yeah, so I used to only want to finish in nitro. I figured if I was painting it, I might as well paint it in nitro. But because everybody, nitro. But now I'm thinking with clear, nitro clear is different, you know what I mean? And it responds different, and it definitely checks early and, shows it's way different than polyclear. So maybe I'll try finishing with polyclear because I might like it being super durable and whatever.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. It's funny though, because you hear all the stories about nitro finishes and how colors fade and how it cracks, and some people like that it does that, and other people are like that messes up the finish.
I guess we are wrong about the NAFTA being dangerous to nitro because it's offended Scott. I'm sorry, Scott. But yeah, put it on your plastics. I think I'm remembering that it will fuck up your plastics, and I may have used it on a Gibson and got it onto the plastics, and that might have been the problem. A truss rod cover, if I'm remembering correctly, a very hard to replace truss rod cover. Oh, sorry. You said Gibson uses it.
Gibson uses it. All right. Okay.
So,
like I said, I don't have any experience with nitro finishes, so
yeah, use it your own risk, or because of Scott. I believe you, Scott. I mean, I'm just saying, don't put it on your plastic. Is what I'm saying. Keep it away from your plastics on any kind of finish. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where this is coming from. I love huffing that. I can go through 3 cans over a long weekend.
Nice. Okay. Probably the paint. The paint's good stuff. It'll get you through a tough time. You just need a couple cans, right? No problem.
That is something. That is something else. Let's see.
Yeah, I've been doing just hand.
It looks like several people in the chat have been sick, and I know what they're talking about because over Christmas, my wife had been sick, and then I was sick over Christmas, and it just it hung on for like 6 days. It wasn't bad. It's just congestion and coughing and stuff like that. It didn't feel really horrible, but it just wouldn't go away.
Like a chest thing?
No, it was head congestion.
Oh, wow. That sucks. Sorry. I was saying that I've been doing only just mainly just oil finishes. So I haven't been messing with any kind of, I wouldn't put naphtha on, just straight oil and wax.
There you go. It's looking good.
Well, it's basically done. It's just I haven't put the strap buttons on, and I'm going to put a new nut on.
So John, you're saying, what was that again? Could you give us another message so I know what you're talking about, because we're a little around in the chat here, and I'm not sure what you're referring to at this point.
They sure as hell didn't get that straight, did they, Charles? The back of that when they cut those pieces of wood.
No.
They're enjoying kind of. I mean, I've seen it worse, but I mean that's not an A+. That's it is what it is. I like this piece of the mahogany. This one's, but the other one's a little bit light. Actually, I kind of like this guitar. I might just keep it up in the house because it's something that looks good on the wall. Although it plays really, I shouldn't say it sucks to just put a guitar on the wall. I would play it a lot probably if it was upstairs, but it looks nice.
So Dave, standing between coats, if you're spraying your clear, you only have, especially once it has the hardener in it, it only has you have so much time to work with it. Anything after 24 hours, it's going to be really hard to work with, and so but it's not going to be completely set for that 24 hours either. Mm-hmm. And so when I do a finish, I will do the first 3 coats. And then I will fix whatever flaws are in that, and then I will go and then I will wet sand that really good after the 3 coats, and make sure it's nice and even, clear up anything that's wrong with it.
Wet sand it all grits up to.
No. In that case, I'm only going to go. I wouldn't go any higher than 800 grit.
Okay. Gotcha.
And because you want to leave a key for the rest of the clear to kind of come in,
seep into. Yeah,
you're going to get different layers. And then I'll do the last 3 coats, and then we go through all the grits.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. And I occasionally will sand back in between coats using True Oil, because I like to do the first couple of coats I'll do with a mixture of mineral spirits and True Oil to where it's thin and watery, and it goes directly. It's like seeps down into the, uh, especially if it's like a maple veneer, it seeps down in deep, and it almost looks like nothing happened the first couple of coats, and then I go back with a thick, almost globby, like leave on a big greasy film of it, almost like a finger rub of it, but with a glove on. Um, let that dry, and then I come back and I sand that with 1500. Right. And what I've noticed is that just kind of locks that first part into the grain. And then from there, it's just a couple of coats just to taste on how glossy you want it. And the more coats you go, the glossier it gets. And then when you're done, let it dry for a couple of days and then do a tiny bit of beeswax and buff it out.
Yeah.
That's what I do. But I've just watched a few of other people on YouTube that were doing kind of the same thing, and I just took it and added my own little thing and did my own little twist and came out with what works for me.
Yeah. And whether you're spraying a urethane clear or a poly clear or
Nitro.
Thank you. Yeah, you need to wear a respirator. Yeah, you need to wear. You got to be protected. It will.
No, you don't.
It's not good for you.
Disagree. Obviously, by my ability to communicate so clearly with the public at this point in my life, you could probably get by. As long as there's a wind and you hold it into the wind and it's going away from you, you'd be fine. Be fine.
Guitars.
No, it's better to have a respirator for sure.
Yeah.
It just depends on how many brain cells you want.
Without it. I won't.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's so smart. But some of us, we're too smart and we need to lose a few brain cells. So we're like, oh, let me just get a little bit of that nitro. All right, that's enough. That's all Papa needs for the evening. All right. Oh wait, come back here. Okay, all right. You may go. Nitro smells good when you spray
it. I love this. Tremclad has a can that sprays 18 inches wide that you can easily paint a cat with 2 cans.
Ooh. 18 inches wide would be like one hit for the Wayne. That's Trem. What is it called? Trem. 18 inches wide.
Tremclad.
Tremclad. Because that would just be a whole body in one hit, Charles. 18 inches wide, the spray, or 2, you'd go zing zing, and that would be 1 coat.
I am set in my ways.
I know, but what I mean, a spray can nozzle width, I've got to say, it's got to be about 4 inches. I mean, the spray pattern at the 8 inches or 8 or 12 inches that we're holding it. The pattern's got to be 4 inches wide when you're hitting it. Zing, because it takes about I'm just gonna count off of 1, 2, 3, like 4 passes, usually 4 for me to do a body, because I do a body with a neck holder on it and I hold it up and I just zing 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 like that. So you hang your bodies up, don't you, and walk around them?
I do. I hang the bodies and I move around it.
Yeah, I have mine on a neck and I kind of prop it there on my leg and I kind of spin it around in my hand and like that.
And that's probably a better way to do it. But I
don't think it's better. I don't have the setup that you do to hang it. If I had that, I might hang it. Actually, to tell you, Charles, at my old house in Novato, I had that kind of setup that I did like a janky home method where I had 2 microphone stands and something like a broomstick or something in between, and then I hung down the guitar body from in the middle and I painted it all on the back deck. I put there's probably a little bit of paint residue left in that creek back there. That's not bad.
And we have been talking so much. We haven't been through all the chat, but we are running out of time quick. It is 9 o'clock.
You're kidding me.
Now.
See, this was
now,
fun.
And Charles Green is coming on next. Want to thank everyone for being here. Have a great week. Chatting with Charles. I'm going to have both Martin and Lucas from L&M Guitar Corner on.
Great. And I'll be dropping by because I'm off.
So, well, there you go. And
I'll be there.
There may be some other people on the way in.
Yeah, I don't know. As many people as I can send that link, Charles.
There you go.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I never do that. That would be weird, but I might show up.
And we're going to go ahead and then Sunday I hope to be doing sanding down the sanding sealer on Ed's guitar and attaching the binding. We got our acetone, and we are ready to attach the binding. And so that episode we'll be working on that episode over the weekend, and so maybe a video next week.
Monch was here. He was lurking, but he was here.
Monch.
Yeah, brother, man. We talked about you earlier, very early on, so you might not have even heard because we were talking about how.
Do you have anything coming up?
I don't. I might start doing a little bit of lives here just for fun. Just random lives, playing some guitar. The stuff that we were talking about, the swipe away from.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly that.
I
might do. Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for being with us and spending the hour with us once again. Have a great weekend. Make sure you catch all the other shows. And
on that note,
check out Charles Green next.
Yes, he's there. Mitch Heyman too, or no Mitch Heyman?
Mitch Heyman too, I would imagine.
Well, what's the Mitch Heyman is happening? Let's go.
Come on, people. Charles and me about to take you on Guitar Safari. So turn on your computer, turn on your phone. 'Cause it's about to go down one volume